When I started my journey to PA school, the whole purpose of it for me was to be able to give back to my community, to give back to the Indigenous community. As a child of tribal health clinic, there was a lack of understanding of how traditional medicines could be used along with contemporary Western medicine ideology. This was 100% what I wanted to do. And, so I made sure that's how I wrote my personal statement.
I have a mother who's been through a lot medically, and I had a year of discrepancy. So I spoke to that to let them know, like, hey, this happened, but I rose above and I showed an upward trend.
Majority of my theme was want to become a nurse who's going to work in mental health services, and eventually, maybe in the future, I will become a nurse practitioner. Yeah, that was my theme.
Your future goals, your past triumphs, these are great ways to illustrate for an admissions committee why you want to become a health professional. But talking about yourself can be tough and intimidating. Where should you start?
It took a lot of brainstorming for sure. I read the prompts, I wrote ideas down. I went by process of elimination. I did multiple drafts.
I've read thousands and thousands of personal statements, and I look for something genuine and something that tells me about who you are and your experiences.
Ask yourself, what's the one thing I most want someone to know that they won't already from my education and experiences? What are my goals, and how can this school help me achieve them? What skills or attributes do I want to highlight that will complement the other items in my application?
It was like a jigsaw puzzle. It was a combination of highlighting my work experience, my volunteering experience, my involvement on campus, but the most chunk of it was me personally, what I've gone through, how healthcare has impacted me.
I narrowed it down more to my experience, with, say, a past clinical experience that I had or a personal experience that really related to my goal of becoming a registered nurse.
What drove me to medicine, I felt like that was big. My diversity and how I want to make a change. After I got all the words together, I gave it to my friend who was the technical writer.
Getting a second or third, maybe even a fourth set of eyes and opinions on your statement is critical. But first, make sure you take your time. Try to find the words or expressions that reflect who you are. Concentrate on your strengths and how they relate to your future as a student and a healthcare professional. Fill in any gaps or lingering questions that you think a reader may have when reviewing your complete application. And be honest.
You should speak from the heart. You should, if you have errors to talk about or missteps to talk about, make sure you talk about how you learned from them, what you did as a result. When there are things that cause the reviewer to wonder what was going on with this applicant, that's where your statement is able to help give some additional explanatory information.
I had my mom look over it. And of course, everything that I write, my mom thinks is perfect. So she doesn't give me a whole lot of critiques. It's like, all right, now I know I have to go get a second opinion. I just thought of people in my life that I knew that were very good writers themselves, or they were good editors, or just good judges of character of reading, and I passed it along, said, hey, give me your best.
The way we see ourselves sometimes is different than the way other people see us. Granted that we write about ourselves, but we have a whole panels reading it, and everyone have different perspectives. Sharing my personal statement to the nurse practitioner, and my supervisor social worker is like just a trial for that panel.
Good reviewers can be found at your college writing center, maybe friends who majored in English, or someone you know who just loves to write.
Then making sure that your grammar and your spelling and all of those things are correct. If you turn in a beautiful essay that sells yourself well, but you have multiple typos in it, think about it as like a wedding dress or a prom dress that's beautiful, but you've spilled ketchup down the front of it, right? It distracts from this thing. And so you want to make sure that you don't have any, say, ketchup stains on your essay.
When you are writing a piece, to you, it just sounds so good. It just flows very well. And you're like, yes, this is like a masterpiece. until you get a chance to give it to somebody and then they're like, maybe you shouldn't have written it this way or that way.
It was very important to reach out and not feel alone.